What up everyone, my name is Storm. In today's video, we're going to be doing a quick video on the new developer update, which is really interesting. I've only done a quick glance of this, so let's go into it. This is the developer update in January 2023. So if we scroll down, we'll just do a quick glance of it. We got the Happy New Year. The team is back from the holidays, and we brought a little bit of an update. We cover all the biggest upcoming changes coming to Dead by Daylight. We have many quality of life improvements up our sleeves. Interesting. So if we scroll down, we got Survivor Activity HUD. This is one of the interesting things I want to see because in solo queue, it is a nightmare. I am very excited for this update change. Like, you don't know how much. Solo queue is a nightmare for sure, with all the metas that were had over this year, especially this one specifically. I play quite a lot of solo queue to rely on myself instead of friends. I do play with friends to understand both sides, but there is a bridge gap between communication or not. This, what we're going to read out in a sec, is going to help us so much. There is no secret playing with friends may improve your odds of survival. Communication at times it may be the difference between life and death. Solo survivors need to work extra hard to keep up. Often sacrifice perk slots for crucial information that could be easily shared between players in a call. This is a little preview of what's happening. We got someone working on a tone, which is Vintorio. We got Jeff in Chase, which it seems. So you don't have to worry about the obsession, which is the Adam, knowing like where they are. We got Adam working on chest, and then we got Serena working on a generator. This is going to help solo queue very much. Like the amount of value, what you're going to get off this, and you don't even need to bring other perks to help out. I think that is a really good change if they bring it in. And this is only like a little quick like snapshot of it. Like they maybe like tweak it throughout the time. But with the feedback, what we're going to get from the public test build, that's going to help the dev team to improve this UI. The next one is going to be the wiggle mechanics, which is a very interesting mechanic. And I do prefer this over the A&D mechanic because that was quite frustrating. It did hurt my fingers quite a bit, I would say. I do admit it is very buggy at times. They are working on it. So if we scroll down to see what they've actually said. So they're coming out with the system and they're adding it to the game officially. And because this was in beta, the tab's going, like the beta tab. First, they have removed the faster wiggle progression from the great skill checks so you can't get off quicker. Hitting all the great skill checks could shave off a whole second. Whilst this sounds small, the difference between wiggling free and getting hooked. Rather than increasing the wiggle speed, great skill checks, we've instead increased the amount of killer sway while you carry by 20%. So kind of like boil over in a way. Okay, that's going to be interesting. Great skill checks successful zoned have been increased in size. Okay, this is interesting. Because skill checks on the other hand still bump the killer, but 50% less than previous normal. Okay, let's see what they've done there. Secondly, they've added a new sound. Okay, so you don't hear that spamming over and over, which is quite frustrating, I would say. So it is kind of glad. I'm kind of glad, but I'm kind of curious what it's going to sound like. Thirdly, they cleaned up the new system interaction with DS. Previously, it would catch survivors off guard when the skill check pops up and they normally miss it. They put in like a new delay system, so you won't be able to miss it. The next important thing is the nurse. In the right hands, the nurse can be doubtly the strongest skill in the game, which I agree. Though she has a steep learning curve, not much can stand between a good nurse and the survivor she's trying to kill, not even walls. Although it's been a while, we've made some major changes to her. The nurse has steadily grown in power, thanks to the induction of the new perks, making already the strongest playstyles even stronger. The large part comes to her basic attacks, considered as the basic attacks, meaning they can benefit from a wide variety of perks. We decided it's time to make a blink attack special attacks. This means no longer activates the basic perks such as Starstruck, hits no one escapes death, and so on. This is a huge change, and I'm kind of glad because it is so annoying facing a Starstruck nurse with Agi and pretty much ending the game at 5 gens. Also, they've added a new sound, which is going to be very interesting. The nurse has to fully regenerate all her blinks. This way, you know when she's ready to blink again. Okay, that's going to be interesting. I do like that. Oh, they are finally listening to the community, like even more. Beyond that, we've had some time to revisit the nurse's add-ons and the new effects to bring her from the strongest and the weakest, the nurse's add-ons and her new effects. I'm kind of glad they've gone into the add-ons, which we'll go into in a sec, and changing her special attacks and not activating with certain perks like Starstruck and no one escapes death and so on. So if we look at the add-ons that have been reworked, we have got Bad Man's Last Breath. After hitting a survivor with a blink attack, the nurse becomes undetectable for 25 seconds. This effect can only be triggered every 45 seconds. Once all the blinks have been exhausted, the nurse may teleport back to her original position. Once she returns to her original position, all the blinks are restored. The full details for the changed add-ons can be found in the patch once when it goes live. But these are the add-ons that are going to get reworked in the changes. Like when the update goes live, these add-ons are going to get reworked. Also, the breath is going to get new audio and the visual feedback will be more clearer. The effects are more active. Okay. All right, the next one is the knight. We know the knight is very boring on both sides to play and to go against. For me, a sample, I don't like facing him or I don't like playing him. I find him quite boring. His playstyle is quite boring. They've added him for over a month now, which is crazy. It's been a month already. But they're looking through the feedback and they're pretty much saying like the knight is best for certain loops, making the distance longer, like to push people away. That's the playstyle. So they're listening to the community at the moment and they are working on his playstyle. So they are trying to find different ways to like improve him, for example. So firstly, they're going to mess around with the orb. So they're making it a lot harder for the survivors to see where this is coming. So they get like catch the survivor off guard. I see where they're coming from. Like if you see the knight placing a guard in a certain patrol route, the survivor will just move to a different loop. Secondly, they've added longer pathing for up to like 10 meters. And the knight will gain a haste status effect for a few seconds. The longer the path, the longer the movement speed bonus will last. Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. I see where they're coming from with this. It could be like breaking with certain add-ons and maybe play with your food. We'll have to see. Have to see when it comes out and begin chasing faster depending on the length of the patrol path. They admire like what people are doing with the knight, like locking down a certain loop like area and chasing the survivors a different way. But it is quite boring. But they really want to improve like a different play style so it isn't boring for the survivors. Just the whole W because it is boring on both sides. If the survivor just holds W to the next loop, the killer is wasting more time and it is boring on both sides. And that's pretty much what they're saying. Like it doesn't suit his playstyle, like they want to rework it and such. But I have a feeling like it's not going to change much and people are still going to do the same thing. And maybe like find another bug or something to abuse. We'll just have to wait and see. So the next thing is Eyrie of the Crows. It is one of the worst maps in my opinion. I don't like it on both sides. This map came with the chapter Portraits of Murder, the artist chapter. And quite a lot of people have passed a lot of feedback and they want to like change it up a little bit. In a way, like change up the gameplay. For example, like change up the gameplay and see what they can do. Many players have reported that it felt like more survivor-sided. In my opinion, I felt like this map was survivor-sided. So they took the feedback and they're going to like rework it a little bit. So they're going to make the map smaller, allowing killers to patrol the gens more easily. There's only one side of the map which I really want to cover the most, and it is the main building and that 3-gen. The other side is quite frustrating to deal with, in my opinion. I always split the map in two. So they're changing the map and I've added maze tiles. Have been moved away from the main building and shot to make it harder to combine to them stronger loops. I do admit that it was a problem and it was a nightmare to get out of. So different tiles have been added to the map with multiple assisting tiles and they've added new foliage, which is like different designs and everything. So if you look at these screenshots, this is a new tile, which is a coffin, and then you've got a pallet here. This is going to be interesting to like loot with. So you've got a pallet here and then you've got a pallet here. I'm guessing behind us is like a full-on dead zone, or there might be a tile with maybe a TL wall. Pretty much to the right as well, maybe. Like maybe just a normal like pallet 50-50 over here, and then you got like the main building down here. I'm kind of excited to see what the new Eyrie of the Crows is going to be like, and if we're going to get better results on both sides. We'll just have to wait and see. So if we scroll down, we've got like a little screenshot, the Liberator. It looks like an in-game challenge tracker, which is very helpful because sometimes I forget what challenge I'm working on. So this is a good point, what they're going to add. We're not too sure if we finish a challenge or not, and you spend most of the time of the match questioning yourself. So if we look at the screenshot right now, we've got like a little example of what the in-game tracker will look like, which is very interesting. I wish it was at the top left, to be honest, but it ain't too bad in that position. Like, I'm not complaining, but they have added the option to turn on or off this little feature. Yeah, I'm kind of glad they've added that, to be honest, like, where you can turn it on and off. All right, Gameflow Improvements. Okay, this is going to be interesting. I'm hoping this affects the blood webs. Speaking of challenges, if you're ever queued up for a match and then realize you didn't have a challenge, if you're ever queued up for a match and then realize you haven't got a challenge on, you know that you face two options. Keep queuing and play the next match without a challenge, or back out and start the new one. Starting in 6.5.0, now you can browse the archive and the store while searching for a match. Okay, this is interesting. I wouldn't buy anything just in case it bugs out, but I do like the option where you can actually like select your challenge. You'll also be able to spend blood points in the blood web as you wait. So we've got news for our kill players. So we can actually spend blood points whilst we're, in a way, like searching for a game. But they have added a note. The killer that you enter the match with will be the killer that you'll be playing as. As always, returning to the main menu will always cancel your search or exit your group, as always it did. So we can actually spend blood points whilst we're queuing for, like, for example, Scratch Mirror Myers. So we're going to play as Scratch Mirror Myers, but whilst we're waiting, we can actually spend our blood points for a different killer. But when we get into the game, we're going to be playing as Scratch Mirror Myers or whatever loadout you want, and not the killer that you've been spending your blood points on. But that's maybe like a future thing. All right, Merciless Killer. This is going to be a very interesting one. This is maybe going to help with the Adept achievements. So if we scroll down a little bit, we have got, finally, we've added a new update for the Merciless Killer rating, where you have to double pick to earn the Merciless Killer result. Unfortunately, this means as your grade increases, it makes it harder for the achievement. To clean things up, the results you get after the match will be tied directly to kills. 0 kills, the entity hungers. 1 to 2 kill is brutal. 3 kills is ruthless, and then 4 is the merciless. So we just have to kill everyone and we get the achievement. Don't have to do them other objectives and such. So this is going to make it a little bit more easier to get your adepts, which I'm kind of glad, because I do admit, like, the killer adepts are very hard to do at the moment. Yeah, I'm messing around with the prices. A few months ago, we've announced the non-licensed outfits will have the option to be purchased with iridescent shards. Okay, that's good. I do like that. That's good. They've added that. By extension, the assisting outfits will receive iridescent shard options, but this is being done for a batch of a few characters at a time. So they're just slowly adding characters in, okay, like with the outfits. So far, we've added the options to outfits for the Trapper, the Wraith, the Hillbilly, the Nurse, the Huntress, the Doctor, the Hag, the Dwight, Claudia, Meg, Jake, Nia, and David King. We can reveal the next characters of the streamer will be Clown, the Spirit, Ace, and a Femin. You can expect the iridescent shard prices to appear around the time the update releases on platform. So it looks like the last bit of news is the cheater update. They're pretty much mentioning like they've banned a lot of the cheaters and they are working on a system to prevent cheaters to get into the game. Hackers and cheaters are always going to find a way to get through the system. The team are working very hard to prevent this, patching it, and seeing what else they can do. The final bit of news is like the public test build is happening tomorrow, and they are planning on releasing the public test build to other platforms. That is awesome. We can actually play with other players on different platforms. Hopefully you did enjoy this developer update, and let me know if you want to see more of this. You may have seen that I've changed up the channel just a little bit with uploading less, and I am currently ill at the moment, so just bear with me with the updates. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy, everyone, and peace.